Hello students, we are back for the second part of our warm cool project painting. We are going to try to finish up this block in for the cool side. There's the painting on the left and the still life on the right. And we'll go ahead and kind of get this started. This is where it was before or where it was at the end of the last video. So mostly what we're going to be doing here is refining things. So I'm starting to put in the whites of the eyes, which are not white. Rarely are. Usually the only thing that are super white, bright areas are highlights in any painting. So I am painting some highlights that are getting close to white, but for the most part, all that we're doing is kind of adding some of our light values in now. We're blocking in the lights on the cup, looking at where does the light hit stronger on her, and then where are we going to add some darker shadows. So I'm kind of starting to try and really turn the form and think about where does it start to turn towards the light, where does it start to turn away from the light, and how can I kind of fill in those lots of little bits where I don't have any paint yet, so I'm making sure to paint those in and block those off. Here's some kind of core shadow, some reflected shadow, getting those just a little darker. I think I go back and hit those one more time a little bit later, but we're trying to just turn that form so we can see the difference between light side of the cup and dark side of the cup. Playing with the highlight a little bit on the bottle because I painted that also in a more bluish tone. Maybe trying to fix the nose a little bit. Felt a little tricky. I don't know that I look at this now and I'm not 100% sold on that placement of the nose, but overall, not too far off. I think I like the eyes better than I like any other part there on the cup. Little reflected light. Maybe that's what it was missing. It's the reflected light because the white table is reflecting up and into the side of the face and the bottom of the nose. A little bit on the chin there. And because it's so white and bright, that's why it's reflecting a bright light into that area. I think I'm about ready to start moving over to finishing up another part of the painting. For me, for the most part, this is pretty close to done. Finding some little highlights there. Because it's ceramic and it has a glossy surface, picks up light from almost anywhere it can. So I'm moving over to the bottle. This area on the very left side is definitely probably one of the darkest areas of the bottle. It was reflecting a darker part of the room. And so because of that, I am using, a purple mix that's probably maybe a little closer to the blue side of my spectrum. So I'm kind of thinking it's a cool purple versus a warm purple. And I'm being very heavy on just the paint, probably not very much medium, so that I can make it nice and dark. And then now I'm looking for some highlight areas where I am mixing in a little bit of white. And then after that, I think I'm going to turn around and go for just those dark, dark purples. And that's, for this painting, a purple represents something that's somewhere in between. It's not super warm and it's not super cool. It's somewhere in between. I think this one I'm particularly trying to lean maybe a little bit more on the cooler side. So there's more blue mixed into it than red. But I think when I go to finish the background, I'm going to go through and maybe add a little extra red to that so that that has a warmer aspect. So even though this is our warm, cool painting, I am not painting this entire piece with just blue colors. I am using mostly blue colors with some reds. And, the red of her hair on that cup is very bright red. So I'm definitely leaving that almost purely alizarin. Another place where I'm going to be doing that, and I'm just starting here, is the flower. The flower in the still life is kind of an orangey peach color. But by keeping it mostly on the red side, we're keeping that warmth. It's definitely on the warm side. So that's a question you want to start asking yourself as you go through and paint things is, does this need to be warmer or does this need to be cooler? If it needs to be warmer, then add some of your warm color to it. If it needs to be cooler, then add some of your cool color to it. So you're really going through and trying to find all the places that you can kind of show the difference between the temperature of whatever color you're using. So in this case, it's mostly kind of pinks. So I'm going through and, when I find some darker accents, maybe I'm going to start to reach towards the middle and get a little cooler because it's a shadow. It may, have a darker component to it. But if it's in the light, I think I'm going to keep more of the alizarin and the red into it. So this is my cool side of the whole piece. But overall, I'm mostly looking at this being my, balance. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. The other one is going to be my warm painting. And I'll use the exact same colors on the next painting. But instead of trying to have a little bit of blue in almost everything, I'll turn around and try to have a little bit of alizarin in almost anything and have it lean a little bit more on that side. I was holding up the bottle there just because I had to take it off the table. It kept rocking back and forth, and I was afraid it was going to fall on the ground and bust up. So I'm holding it in my hand and looking at the details of the label as I start to kind of paint this in. Again, I've gone back over to the cool side of the palette, so I am trying to block this in with purples. This one, I can't remember. This one might have even more blue in it than the rest of the bottle. If I had to give the glass, a description, I would say it's kind of like a dark, warm green. So by leaving the glass part of the bottle maybe a little bit more warm purple, I can put in a very cool blue purple here on the label and make that feel maybe more kind of like a black color and keep it on the cooler side of the spectrum. So I'm kind of drawing around. I'm leaving the other parts white for now for the label. I think I'm going to go back and touch that up one little bit at the end, but I probably do that once I am painting the other side and not doing it sooner than that. Can't tell you why I was just waving that bottle, but I was. Getting close to our finish for today. There's some different words written in there. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to try to find those white spots in between the writing and the letters. It says King at the top. So I'm trying to, make it remind me of those shapes. I'm not trying to write that. Writing it would be my handwriting. It would not represent what it actually is. There's some words down at the bottom, so I'm going to have some shapes that maybe remind me of writing on the shoulder there. Touch up some dark spots over here on the bottle. Just kind of start looking at finishing details for all of the objects. It doesn't have to be 100% finished, but if you can spend enough time to go through and get each part of the painting some attention, that's good. So here's the background. I'm pushing towards a more reddish purple for sure. Definitely closer to alizarin than to the transparent blue. So I think I block this in. I'm trying to bring that edge right up to the edge of the flower. Think about whether I need a hard edge or a soft edge. I think I'm going to lighten up the top part and then maybe darken the part that kind of dips down between the two so that there's a little bit of a gradient. It's something that has like a transition of color, makes the shape maybe feel not so flat, and you can kind of ignore it and just kind of look at the objects. That's what we want to focus on. So I think this is just about the end of our video. I'm going to put up the final painting here so you can kind of see it one more time. But thank you for watching, and good luck painting your first side of your warm, cool painting.